Mark the lines. We're on the inside today. It's still a bit wet outside, so I'm hoping it'll stay dry for a bit longer. But there we go. I don't know if you can see that. The lines are marked. I'm just about to do the radiuses. There's the door, ready to go in. I'll set my radius, my little gadget. So I'm now going to just put you there. And mark it, I guess. Let's just do that there. This is probably the last hole in this box. Don't think we're going to be doing any more holes. I lost my templates, I had to really figure out what the radius was. Here it goes. Offer the door up to it. Make sure this one. So that's the first one. Okay, next one. Alright, that should be correct. Now I'm going to bring the actual door over and just eyeball it. So I've got these nuisance of brackets for the gas strut, which is a bit irritating. Yeah, that's about right to me. Just gonna double check the measurements, and we're gonna cut. It's finally cut. It's a little bit higher than I'd like it to be, so I'm going to give you a view from here. I knew it would be anyway, but if you sort of come down to the level of the bottom, that's what it looks like, unfortunately. Well, nothing I can do about it. The cab is so low compared to the box, and I can't get it any lower than that because of the mattress. So there's be a bit of a drop down, nothing major, about 75 mil, maybe 100. I think it's actually 75. But yeah, the beauty is that the bellows or the gaskets are a separate entity, so you won't really notice it from the outside because the gaskets will have to be pretty much in line, maybe a little bit leaning down, and if I get one that's got plenty of give in it, it's not going to matter. Coming back up, I guess, will be a bit harder because you're going uphill, but going into the cab would be cool. So I'm quite happy with that. It's a good result, bearing in mind this Isuzu cab is so many levels on it. There's not one flat sheet on it. It tapers at the top, and it's quite a low roof one, like all of them were back in those late 80s, early 2000s. And to match it, you'd literally have to have a totally different basically layout in your box, because the other problem is with this one, I can't go any further down even if I had a different layout, as in I didn't have the mattress here. Say I had a bathroom in here, like a lot of people do, or a toilet and you walk in, or a shower unit. We've got this silly mechanism, well, it's not silly, but it's vital. That mechanism there is practically level with that, and I'm going to have to modify that slightly just to narrow the bung a little bit. So I couldn't have gone much. I could have on this side, I could have gone obviously level, but yeah, it's all about compromises. The best thing is we've got access. I'll get the door in now. I'll just scuff the gel coat, do the usual. I've shown this a few times, so I'm probably not going to film it. I'll show you the result, and let's get it in. Alright, everything's masked off, ready to put on after lunch. This is the first fabricated component that's going to go on. It's going to go on top of the aperture on the cab side, and the idea is it's going to level off the back wall of the cab to make it nice and vertical. It's a bit cloudy. I'm racing against the weather because it's about to pour down in about a couple of hours forecast. So this is the first of the pieces that I made up and got the fabricators to actually make, because I thought I had better spend my time doing other things. But this whole profile, I already made it for them, and they then just finished it off. So I've sprayed it with 2-pack. It's a primer all in one coat, any surface type, really good stuff. And it's probably the colour of the truck that's going to be soon at some point. Anyway, because the dog's barking next door, I'll maybe show you when I've put it back on. So it's been activated with Sikaflex activator, and this is the actual primer, which is what I use on all Ali products. And this is steel, but it's onto the paint rather than onto the steel itself. So now I'm going to take my little cap. I'm going to do the same on the cab side. I won't be able to film that because it's so windy at the moment. Nothing's staying on the cab. So I'm going to just do it. So I'm up in between the truck, as you can see. So the primer is on. It's gone off. Sorry about the shaky camera, but it's very precarious here. And I'm gonna do it before it rains again. It just rained for a second. Otherwise, I don't know where to put you. Maybe up here. See anything from there? Get blown off. As you can see, it's not worth the bother. So this is where it looks like. It's all been sickered ready. Unfortunately, I can't get you up there. Alright, just to show you that it's done, because as you could tell, the camera just flew off the top because it's so windy. Welcome to Geraldton, the windiest city in WA. So that's what it looks like. And the idea is to get it flat with the rest of it, even though it's not quite there. So the template I made, when I made it, I just used scrap, sort of 0.55 sheet, and of course this is 1.2 to give it some rigidity. But what happens is it doesn't flex as well, so it's a bit short, but I'm going to compensate by putting a gap between the cowling and this bracket. So that's what it looks like, and the other one will sit on top of here, hence why I've already pre-drilled some of the holes. And that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to offer the other one up to it, see what it looks like. But before that, I'm just going to clean up the excess Sika, and I might put some sealant on now, because it's the sort of thing I forget to do. And tonight it's definitely going to rain, and it's going to rain for pretty much the rest of the week. So you can see how precarious this is. I'm trying to get down. So I have to balance 1 foot there, 1 foot there, and yes, not to film. Alright, probably not mentioned this before, but this is the stuff, because it's in cartridges, got a lot more of the information. This is the stuff that I used to build the whole box and all the panels on the inside. So it's this toolbox, HB Fuller toolbox MS technology. I'm not sure what that means exactly. Adhesive and sealant, and they're the properties, and basically that's what it is. And it's I really like it. I prefer it to Sikaflex for a final finish. Sikaflex is, I think, probably even more superior in bonding for strength, especially if you use their system, which is the activator, the primer, and then the Sikaflex 252. But this stuff is a much nicer finish. So, because I'm going to see some of that top, well, no one's really going to see, but it's an external thing. It'll finish nicer, and you can actually use water on it better than the Sikaflex 252. I find it grabs too much, and then it skins within 10 minutes, and its strength is within 30 minutes. Full strength after a week, I think it says, but it has quite a strong bond within 30 minutes. That's what I'm going to use now, just to finish off the top, and then I'm going to try and put the other panel on. Let's see how we go with that. Alright, the other one, the panel, the sort of filler panel's in. It's threatening to rain again, but I'm going to persevere. You can't really see it from here, it's too far up. But I'm going to persevere with this panel. So this is the panel that sort of squares off the box, if that makes any sense. So it's wider at the top, quite narrow at the bottom. I'm going to rivet it to that panel I've just put in, the sort of filler panel. And then these holes, although they're a little bit big, are where the accordion plate bolts onto. These ones here. These other holes are the ones I've put in to rivet it to the cab. So I'm just going to test fit it now. I just dropped the cab just to come on screen, just to see how close it is. I'm just going to take you up there and show you. So it's within 20 mil, if that, but you can see how close that is. Okay. Room, no margin. Look at the bow in that. I just noticed that. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill. I've temporarily put the rivets in just to locate it, because I pre-drilled those before I sprayed the panels. So these are all pre-drilled, and I'm just going to gently run the drill through them to locate the other side, and then fully drill them when it's off. Give it a quick spray of gal spray, and then same as the other panel, Sikaflex activator, primer, and then Sikaflex it on and rivet it on, hopefully without it raining. So while we got the opportunity, I like to, because the holes are in there, I'm going to spray this so it seeps down on the inside, because bearing in mind I welded around that area, and you never know what drops down when you're welding. So I did that with the top holes, and they've all had a good dose of this stuff, and I'm going to do this with the bottom holes as well, so it all comes down and seeps into all these joints. I mean, obviously it's not going to get everywhere, but whenever I have an opportunity to fill a cavity with oil, I do it, because in my experience it's a good thing to do. Sorry, to find my step. So I'm only going to show you quickly how I do that. It's nothing very exciting. So these ones I'm not going to do because they're full of foam, but these ones here, so there it goes. It doesn't look like it's doing anything, but it's going in there. We've done this panel. I can only hold it with one hand. It's got Sika already and the primer and under there. I'm about to put it on. Another day on the truck. Bit gloomy day, but it's not raining, which is good. So we've got the truck up, and I haven't really filmed a lot of this because I'm always rushing against the weather. But there it goes. That's the crawl through. This is the alley section. I wasn't gonna rivet it to the composite panels, but you know what? I couldn't find a reasonable way of clamping it without it shifting. So I've decided I drill just through the composite panel, just so it goes through the fiberglass, and then I force the rivets in against the foam, I guess. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but it goes in about 2 or 3 mil. It's enough for the rivet to be comfortable. You can see it just sticks out there. Put a heap up there, and now I'm going to do all the sides and the bottom of it. So here I am. I'm not sure if I'm in the view. Oh, there you are. Let's do some measuring and getting these centered. As you can see, I've taped all the area to mask away the Sika because I hate cleaning up. It's always a disappointment at the end. And back to the same routine. I've cleaned it with meths or alcohol, and now cleaning it with Sika's activator, and then I'll do the same on the frame before putting the actual black primer. And then it's a case of Sika beads. And then, yeah, stick it on, basically. And now what I'm doing is doing the same to the actual frame itself. You'll see I've masked it off already, so it's raw aluminium. There's the old primer. This is the plate that holds the accordion seal, which is this one, and that is supposed to shrink down to about 100 millimeters or less. I think it was 3 inches in America because it was from the States, so it's in inches, and it'll expand to 10 inches, which is about, what's that, 26, 28. So this panel is the steel panel that is going to be at the end of the accordion, which abuts to the cab fabricated receiving end, if you like. And what I'm doing here is putting a D-seal all the way around. So as the whole panel, this panel that I'm doing now, clamps onto the cab panel, it creates a weather-tight seal. You'll see there's a lip at the top, the furthest away from you, and another lip that goes the other way, and that's to stop any rain from gathering or seeping underneath and trying to go in from underneath. Not that it will, but the opportunity was there to bend it in that direction, so it was bent in that direction. And obviously I terminate the seal at the center at the bottom there, so to mitigate any water leakage whatsoever, which shouldn't happen because it's at the bottom. But 3M is pretty good. So that's all the way around now. I managed to curve it around the bends. I'm going to go and test fit it on the truck now to see how well it goes. I also use Gorilla Gel glue, super glue, to just glue that joint there, which is at the bottom, so any water, if it does get through that, is only going to come out and go to the ground. It's not actually going to go into the box itself. I decided now was a good opportunity to actually spray that back panel where the crawl through is on the box, and I decided to spray it with Wattles Poly U400 2-pack on top of the DTM 985. After work, it's getting a bit late, it's quite dark, darker than the camera suggests. Haven't got much battery power, but what I'm doing is finishing off the gluing of the rubber gasket, which is hopefully going to be the last thing to do, as you can see. And there, I think I might have overlapped it a bit more than necessary. So just ordinary old Gorilla super glue. I do a little section at a time. That's what the manufacturers recommended. I'm using a sort of gel type. That's it. So now I shall put it back together again. Unfortunately it's really dark out there, as you can see, but there we go. So it's in, the outer gasket. And the inner one, and there's the inner door, of course. Have a quick look under here. Looks pretty good. Don't think anything nasty has happened, but we'll soon find out. Locking contraptions, which are really awkward and stick out way too much. I've had to make sure that the bung is clamped with the spring plate, so I'm going to have to carry one of these and lift it up, lift the whole lot up. Once I've got that triangle out the way, lift the whole lot up and fold it like so, and clamp it around here, which is where that bracket goes. So that's clamped right there now, to tighten this bit up here to give me some room. Anyway, I'm going to lift it up and see if you can see it from the camera. Sorry, lower it down, not lift it up. Let's do it. See how close that got. It should clear it, but it just looked like it was just about to catch. So just lift him up a bit more. Yes, it's annoying, but I'm not going to rebuild it, that's for sure. Alright, let's try that. So what I do is don't go all the way down because it scratches the bolts. So now we can take the clamp off because we've cleared the mechanism, and then lift it up to line up with the holes, which is a little bit tricky because I haven't learned to get it quite right. I can always jump out and do it again. If I can get the top one in like that, so they're in. Not losing my glasses. Just want to. So those are in. These are in, and that's just the bottom ones. And the bottom ones are in, and there you go. So what I'm going to do now is just put a bolt in the top one so it doesn't move, which is up there. So I'll just use a stainless washer and the nut, a nylock nut. Get the there's one. others in now. The bottom ones are the hardest because I made very little room. Again, in hindsight, I should have done the bolting side on this side, not the cab side, because I've got more room to get the bolts on down here, right there. Way more room access here. I've got this tiny finger area, but at the time I thought it was the right thing to do. The other reason why I should have done it the other way is because it would clear that mechanism better, because the rubber would be hanging off the cab, which would be above the mechanism rather than hanging over the mechanism as the cab comes down. So anyone's doing an FTS with this weird stupid cab system, I mean the later models are a lot better, made the locking mechanism a lot further down. But see, now I'm struggling to get this nut on this bolt because I can barely get my fingers in. So I don't know, long term, is this a good idea? I don't know. Oh god. Okay, so I am using up all my scrap bits of foam from the build. I'm taking the backs off them, so there's only got fiberglass on the one side, and I am pushing them, here's another set, in here. So this is the box side of the frame, if you like, and I've already put the top ones in there. Had to put a join in them because there's no way of getting them in unless they're split. So I'm going to do that side, which will then mean the whole lot is now insulated. This side, on the cab side, I'm just going to probably carpet because there's not enough room to get my hands in there for the nut up there and along there. So it's just going to be carpeted. So it just gives it a sort of more homely feel, rather than being just steel, and obviously a tiny bit of sound deadening and insulation because carpet has that property. It's too fiddly. I'm not going to go over the top with it, but it'll be something. And then whereas this will be a lot quieter, it just means that there won't be any cold coming through to the bedside here through the door. I mean, this is insulated as well, but it'll just reduce it all, so keep the cold out and the heat out. All right, ladies. So what I'm making here is the sort of ramp that's going to go from the cab crawl through side to the box to the cab. And because I've got a slope, that's what I'm making there. And I've just made these inserts to fit in there to give it some rigidity and some strength. And I'm going to trim this up to fit. And all I do is use wood glue and pin it with the air gun nailer, and yeah, start doing that, and then I'll get it carpeted. And see if it fits. Oh, look at that! Ah, yes! That's what we're talking about. It's beautifully in. Just bring my head again. Yeah, happy with that. Doesn't move. There's a little bit of a lip there, but not too much. Bit of a lip there. And I'm going to try and crawl through it now. And I've got enough room here, which you probably can't see because it's black, to be able to shut this canopy door. So let's just try that again. So I'm going to put you down here somewhere. Oh, it's tight, but it's in there. Good stuff. Alright, that works. Now crawl through. Let's see. Always on the belly with this one. That's the only way it works. So I'm in. Back on the belly. Not too shabby. It would be a lot better when the chair's here, because obviously you've got something to put your knees on, whereas right now there's nothing there. This lip here is a bit irritating. I thought it'd be a bit higher, but it is what it is now, and I'm not doing any more. Let's keep moving forward. And the beauty is it's separate enough here that when these two move about, it shouldn't interfere. So what I'm going to do is when I go for a test drive, I'll put a camera there or something and watch it to make sure, worst case scenario, I can always take it off, because that's the beauty of it. It's removable. And the reason why I made it removable is because in these compartments underneath the hollow bit, I'm going to put the tools that are needed to undo all the bolts off the plate when you want to tilt the cab. So it's not just a spanner, it has to be a ratchet spanner because of lack of room in there. And the other thing is, because the way I've designed it, I need a spring clamp or two to hold the accordion away from the cab while I'm down at the bottom tilting it with the hydraulic switches or tilt mechanism. Can't be in two places at the same time. It's all well and good if you're a couple or two of you traveling, and it wouldn't be so bad, but even so, you don't really want someone in the cab holding the accordion while I'm tilting the cab, because yeah, it's just a recipe for disaster. So I've got two clamps that work straight, and I just clamp the accordion just where the latching mechanism is on the outside, that big hook that holds the cab down. And then it'll open up fine. But I don't want to be scrabbling around looking for these bits and pieces when it comes to a problem with the engine and you want to just get the cab off to have a look. So what I've decided is I'm going to put them inside here. So as soon as this would have to come off to tilt anyway, so as soon as you pick this up, there'd be tools under there and you go, ah yes, that's what they're there for, and thank God they're there.